Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I'm your host, JP John Poz. With me today, very special guest, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, of course, an ECW legend, the whole effing show, one of a kind, Mr. Rob Van Dam. Rob, welcome back. How you doing?
Fantastic, John. Thanks for asking. Everything's
What's going
good.
on? What's going on in your world, though? What have you been up to?
Shoot, everybody saw me on AEW the other night, and much to the surprise of many people who didn't know that I'm still doing my thing. So just consistent. I've always said that. I'll probably keep saying it for a while.
Man, still in great shape too. That's the one thing. Some guys get older. You seem like you're testing father time there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't identify with old, and a lot of people just have themselves set up for that early in life. In their early 30s. If you want to start referring to yourself and thinking of yourself as an old man, you can manifest it. Even against better genetics, and you can feel the way that you think. But that's crazy. I had Fonzie on my podcast the other day, and he was asking if I remembered the show in Amarillo when Terry Funk was retiring. And I wrestled Dory Funk Jr. that night. And what I remember about the match was I didn't take it easy on him. I did my flip out of the ring, with my heavy ass, hitting his shoulder, gave him the Van Daminator, everything. And it's funny that you would have thought maybe it would be a good idea to take it easy on him because he was, an old man. But looking back at it, at that night, he was the age that I am right now. And I wouldn't think twice about somebody, kicking me in the face or or doing a helo on me. Definitely different. I'm definitely a different 53 than he was.
Crazy. That was 50 years of funk too. That was the WrestleFest down there in Amarillo. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And Brett versus Terry was good too. So yeah, that was good stuff that night.
Yeah, that was the first time I believe that I talked to Bret Hart. Lots of good memories from it. Yeah, Sabu was there. I don't know what he did, but he was there.
Yeah. Now, how did that all come about, though, the Swerve Strickland match? Because that seemed like a bit of a surprise to me and a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean,
love you. Have fun. Hey.
Hey, how you doing? Have fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you. So most of my AEW matches have been a surprise, just last minute, like boom, hey, are you available? They just hit me up, wanted me to wrestle Saturday, which is here in Las Vegas, where I live, and it's Wednesday, Thursday, so it's like 3 nights away. And unfortunately, I'm booked, so I'm going to be cross country in New York City. I would have loved to have had that work out, instead. But anyway, the very first time I did the AEW appearance with Jack Perry, that was like a year in the making. Like they hit me up like in January talking about this idea. We're looking at like September 3rd and 10th, you might want to just keep that in mind. It ended up being exactly right when they said, and it was like 9 months later or something. So I figured they must be planning that far ahead. And if they're not talking to me about doing anything in the future, that means I'm not doing anything for the next 9 months or so. But Matt Hardy said, no, it's not like that usually here at all. A lot of stuff is last minute. And my last 3 or 4 booking attempts anyway now have just been kind of like a surprise. So I'm here. I'm on hand, when available. So that's pretty much how it's going right now.
And obviously keeping yourself in great shape too. So I mean, there's no doubt about it about that either.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle, and it's awesome. This stage where I'm at right now to be able to actually train right, sleep right, and live right, so that I'm in the best condition when I do go out there and wrestle, because I can't be like, oh, it's been 5 months since my last match, so I'm gonna suck the first match in, because there might not be a second match in. A lot of what I do are just one-offs. A lot of them in the last few years have been like in other countries, and so that's all I can do is stay ready, so I don't have to get ready, and that's an obvious part of the job, which shame on me if I can't do that. But also, though, in a beneficial way, it's been better for healing up, and when you just wrestle once, you haven't wrestled in a long time, it hurts, and then the more you wrestle, you get conditioned to it. But after a certain point, if you're wrestling 4 or 5 nights a week every week, and you're on the grind like that, I find from firsthand experience that then having some time off, a lot of aches and pains went away that I never knew were going to go away, because I was just always aggravating them. So I thought they were like some permanent characteristics that were just going to be with me for the whole ride. And I find that having a lot more time off has been something that's helped me in that way, so that I can also feel not just conditioned from the gym, but also from my body healing up and not being so beat up like 5 days a week.
Yeah, you got to keep the body, healthy, basically. Not take too many bumps. The bump card, if you will.
Well, it's just the way the career is, Like I used to like wrestling for Japan. We would do tours, and we do 2 or 3, 4 weeks. The first night in was really rough. I'd be sore. I'd feel it everywhere. Second night, a little better. Third or fourth night, boom! I feel like I'm like, bam! I'm ready to go every night now. My body just felt conditioned to take the bumps and stuff. I never have taken it easy when I'm in the ring. I'm there to do what I do, and I don't have 2 speeds, to rely on. I don't have like house show speed and then pay-per-view speed. So for me, I always, when I say I'm consistent, that means with performance too. I want someone that's expecting to see RVD to get RVD.
Now, with Swerve Strickland in that match, what do you think about it? Because I thought it was great. Obviously, you're in a main event. You're in a 15-minute plus match in a big show for them. A part of a big angle with Swerve, too, because he's headed for the world title. So what did you think about the match and the performance?
I had fun with the match, and I like Swerve. He's talented. I like his vibe. I knew that right away, which made me feel good about how the match was going to go. But having had the match, it was a lot of fun. It was a good opportunity for me to come in, get a lot of time in the main event, and not have to tell the crowd who I am or build a story or anything to get them to respond, because I'm RVD and everybody knows that. So it was awesome to come in, and I understood the assignment. I came in to punish him, hardcore style, and I enjoyed I don't know if I want to call it nostalgia, but I enjoy bringing back a lot of that funness to the matches. Because for me, obviously, throw the rule book out, that's where I shine. That's where I am the best exhibited. So I enjoyed, specifically doing the leg drop on the apron and on the guardrail, and I would love to do more. Love to do more of that.
Yeah, it felt like an old school ECW match for sure.
Yeah.
Just that was the feeling of it.
Somebody in one of the comments said, if you turn the quality down on the video, you'll think you're watching 97 ECW.
That is true. It had that feeling of the match. The only thing I had a problem with was, let's just say, somebody's not taping the show, or they're not realizing it's a mystery guy in the main event. Don't you think they should have said, hey, RVD is fighting Swerve? So people my age or fans my age would just be like, oh my God, RVD's wrestling. So they turn it on. You know what I mean? Instead of being a mystery.
Yeah, you would think so. But like I said, I understood my assignment, and someone else's job to figure out how to utilize their investment the best, So There's that, and I thought you were gonna talk about the what do they call it, the extra minutes at the end. I saw a lot of people complaining about that online. I didn't understand it, but I get it because my DVR missed the finish.
Yes, mine too.
Yeah, which is fine. It got like all but the last two moves, and but that's so I get that too, and I don't know why they don't warn you if they, or I don't know, because I kind of thought they did that every night, but I guess they don't anymore because I thought TBS was always like a 7:05 to 9:05 kind of schedule. So I don't know, but obviously it caught some people by surprise, and so sometimes they're not happy about that, but all fixable problems.
Definitely. That too, though. Sometimes they tell you ahead of time, but TBS, they don't do that anymore with the 05 and whatever. NXT on USA, they give you like a 10-minute buffer on the DVR, but TBS doesn't. So if you're not aware, if you don't tape the show after it and they don't tell you ahead of time, you have no idea you're going to miss the finish. So then you got to go to social media afterwards and watch the end of the match, which is what I had to do.
Yeah. It seems like they would have a smarter software that would follow the show itself and determine by when that's finished.
Or AEW could just say, hey, the show goes to 10:05 now, and if it goes shorter, it goes shorter. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That might work too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with AEW, obviously the door is still open, but with like the Hook storyline and all, was it supposed to be more with Hook? Because I feel like something went awry there. What was that? Maybe because of the whole Jack Perry issue, or what happened there?
I don't know. I'm not even exactly sure what you're asking, but I mean, as far as like, was there supposed to be anything more? I'm not one to open up a plan book, and look and I'm more of a live by the moment kind of a person. So in that regards, I usually don't know until it happens. It's just talk anyway, so I don't put that much into. We're going to do this and that, and then maybe you are, maybe you're not. That's just life in general. But Hook came down and made the save when Brian Cage came in. I think that certainly leaves room for another match down the road, tag match, or I guess there's 3 or 4 of them. So maybe build it to them if that's something people would care about.
What do you think about Hook? Do you potential, or what's like your overall feelings and thoughts on Hook?
He's a very likable guy, and not just firsthand from me thinking he's got a good vibe. I like him, but I even noticed first that the crowd took to him so much, and so I was trying to figure that out. Like, what is that about him? I think it's cool that he's Taz's son. So that's to use a pun, that's a little hook on his character, and it makes him stand out a little bit. And I don't know, honestly, like when I saw him and Samoa Joe do their little promo face-off, I thought it was funny how he held the microphone up, and it made me laugh. It just looked like it was so different. Like, I don't know if that's a rapper thing or something probably that many people have seen someone else do, but I hadn't. So I thought it was funny, and I thought it made him look like an unruly punk that just had some things he wanted to say, but wasn't necessarily taught, how. At least that's the way it came across, which, should be good for, I think, the message they were doing. I like him.
Obviously a lot different than his dad. His dad was a different body type, different build, and obviously had that judo background. What did you think of just, like a guy who's a famous wrestler's son gets into the business? More pressure, less pressure as far as living up to his dad's billing?
Well, I guess that would be circumstantial, because the generation before you may or may not have been over. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of wrestlers that'll come out that'll be way bigger stars because their dads might have just been journeymen, handy wrestlers that might not have been big superstars. Just like most everyone that teaches at wrestling schools are usually really decent wrestlers that were never like main eventers because of this or that or whatever, but they understand all the fundamentals. They're able to pass it on, and then the person, if they're going to have that extra something special, they kind of got to bring it themselves or develop it. I think that if I had a kid and then the kid decided that she wanted to get into the business, I think it would be cool. It would have the cool factor as far as like the namesake and the automatic on a hook again, that would follow that person. I think it's cool whenever I find another generation, whether it's second or third generation. I thought it was cool that Randy's dad, Randy Orton, that his dad and his grandpa were both in the business. But then, like a few WrestleManias ago, there's a bunch of girls around, and one of them was Piper's daughter, and one was Joey Santella, the sock dude. Santino, yeah, his daughter, and they were like really cool, and I just think, wow, that's really cool that they want to, and it's a bit of nepotism involved, especially if you're in a very political field. Then they're going to have some opportunities that they may or may not deserve. I don't know. I mean, I doubt the Rock's daughter is going to have to pay the same dues as someone that was exactly like her that wasn't the Rock's daughter. Just a guess, just a hunch. I'm saying, like that extra value is something. I mean, even the other students, would think like, wow, that's so cool. You're the Rock's daughter if they're training in class or whatever. It's a cool thing, and cool things sometimes are marketable, and it is a business. So when you look at it in the bigger picture, it all makes sense. When you're looking at it from a smaller competitive perspective, sometimes it can just seem not fair.
What do you think about this generation of wrestler in the locker room versus, old school? Because, I mean, you've been through the Sheik, you've been through ECW, you've been through WWE. What do you think about this age and this locker room?
Well, it's a pretty broad question. I mean, I've seen it change, obviously, a lot. When I got into the industry, it was still a closed-door society. The wrestlers still protected the business and the ways that they made money. It was real important to them, and kayfabe was very strong. Nobody got back in the dressing room that wasn't a wrestler or part of the company. They would get beat up and thrown out, and it was like that when I got in. So to see that substance of it, the nucleus of what it used to be, which was like a secret society, it was like a good old boys club, and to see that dissipate really into a much larger, universally acceptable and adaptable climate, to where now it's a work safe, friendly environment. Everything's politically correct. I was just talking yesterday to Katie, and I was saying it's so crazy now to think, like, if two wrestlers got in a fight in the back, it's likely that there'd be a lawsuit, just like as if it was two people that got in a fight at the mall or something. We're in a society where we're told that we're entitled. If we're done wrong, we're entitled to get paid. So everybody sues for everything. And culturally, that's the correct way to handle certain problems. Let the law handle it. You don't take it into your own hands, but that's certainly not the way we were brought up when we're taught, don't let anybody disrespect you or your family. Anyone talks bad about your mama, you punch them right in the mouth. Well, that kind of stuff will, nowadays put you in jail and also cost you a lot of money. And so now the whole wrestling environment behind the doors seems like it has to be transparent enough to where you can at least see through the doors if you're not back there yourself now. It's required now in order to be acceptable with the woke society. For better or for worse, it's just different.
Can't believe, like, if you think about it, like the Steiners and the Nasty Boys, you think they'd sue each other after they got in a fight in the back, or you and Sabu or something? You know what I mean? Would never happen in a million years back then?
Right, and I would expect it to now, though. I would expect it to be just like if it was two businessmen, they were office cubicle jockeys, and it's like that's the safe work environment that has progressively been becoming the real life situation with wrestling. It's when I say politically correct, I mean it wasn't meant to be that at first. Way back in the day, it was racist, homophobic. It was very labeling. It was very whatever it wanted to be, and it was very protective. And then it hasn't been an instant change, of course. It's been over the years, but it's been after the bag of tricks is open. Now we have a whole generation of wrestlers who grew up thinking that it was a work. So in their minds, it's all about doing the spots, pulling them off. No interest in protecting the business. Not that long ago, if setting the spot up kills the business, then you don't do the spot. It's not worth it if it takes too long to set up. Not a factor anymore. Now it's people that grew up believing it's a work, thinking that they are catering to a crowd of people who also think it's a work, and then they're obviously going to have a challenge getting the same reaction when everything has changed to that. But that's what I see.
That suspension of disbelief is gone in a lot of those matches. When they do stuff like that, you just totally lose. It's like, oh, come on. You know what I mean? You just totally lose yourself in the match.
And sometimes, from my perspective, I can see it in the little things because they're not committed in their mindset. They're not out there, trying to not get hit in the face or trying to get out of the way or giving it everything they got. They're just going through motions, sometimes too still until it's time to go. Then they go early, make the other person look like an idiot for running in when no one's home anyway. All that stuff. I feel like if I taught a class to them, I really feel like I could help bring the mindset to where it needs to be, but I don't think I'm going to do that, and I don't think the platforms are talking to all the fans and open people about all the little details like that I see. But in the end, even if people don't know what's missing, they know something's missing.
When you're backstage at AEW, do they pick your brain and ask you stuff? Because you've been everywhere, you main evented everywhere. I figured they would probably come to you and say, "Hey, what do I do here? What do I do here?" So do they ask you for advice and stuff, and instances like that?
They have. So as opposed to what some of the other veterans have said about nobody coming up to them, I have had wrestlers either say, if you get a chance, could you watch my match? Or, is there anything you saw that I could improve on? And that goes a long way because it tells me that they have respect. They have respect and also know that there's always room to improve the craft. Always.
And especially a guy like you, let's say you're main evented. If they want to be main eventer, what can I pick? Even if it's something small, what can I pick his brain about? What can I get from him to make myself into a main eventer or a better wrestler?
Yeah, well, like I said, it happens. I really haven't been around there a whole lot. And when I am there, I'm busy, doing my own stuff or whatever. But some of the guys, though, have gone out of their way, and it stuck out in my mind. It means a lot when they do that. And if I am able to point out a few things, then I certainly will.
Now, WrestleMania, right around the corner, WrestleMania 40. It's in Philadelphia, the home of ECW. Everyone is wanting you to be a part of it. Is that something you want to be a part of, or is that something that it's in the rear view? You don't really think about it.
It's something that I think would be awesome. Definitely, Philadelphia. That's one of my hometowns, and anytime to be booked at WrestleMania. Especially, especially this one. The timing of everything coming together, it would be awesome. I have no reason to think that I will be part of it. Well, I guess I can't say that completely. But let's just say I have just as much reason to think that nothing's going to happen as maybe something could happen, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like it'd be awesome, but they'd have to call me.
Right.
Yeah.
Does the AEW stuff? Do you think that hurts it, or does it? Nobody cares. Like that doesn't matter. You're above that because you're legend status, pretty much.
I don't know. Overall, it probably doesn't help. I don't think WWE likes that the fans could see me as an AEW wrestler. That's going to make them not want to get behind me, and maybe they won't put me on the video game. Maybe they'll cancel an appearance in Philly that they had of me touring the ECW arena with fans. But in the end, it's not like they're not calling me anyway. So if they're not, they can step up if they want to. Let's put it that way.
They're like rumored, like ECW going into the Hall of Fame or Paul going into the Hall of Fame. I feel like you'd have to be a part of that if we're thinking logically here, of course.
It would seem like it. I'm already in the Hall of Fame WWE from 2021, so yep. I could see where, if they were going to be actually honoring someone as the first ECW representative or something, I could see where it could I could wait for another year, and see someone like Sabu maybe, or Sabu it would be my vote, but look at the originals, like it's Taz, Sandman, Raven, Dreamer. I think all those guys, they were all there before me and already laying down the groundwork. So when I think ECW, I think all those guys.
Would you put yourself like on a Mount Rushmore of ECW if you say maybe you, Sabu, Franchise, Shane Douglas, and Funk? Maybe. I mean, would you put yourself up there with those guys?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would, because my title reign was an important part of the company growing, and that was why it was so fun for me at that point in my career, because I knew that all of my efforts, the harder I work tonight in my match, is really going to have an overall effect on the company growing. And we were watching the crowds grow, from 400 people to 800, then 1,200, 2,000. I remember when the first time, we broke 3,000, we were so excited. And then 7,000 at the Beaver Dome. Like, what? During all of that, those were some of my best matches. That was when I had the TV championship, and the fans were chanting RVD from the beginning of the show all the way through till the end, till I would come out. Not always, and not all the fans, but it happened, and it happened a lot. And the fans that were there know that not only that I'm always honest, but that I'm definitely not making this up. And sometimes during the other people's matches that are on third or fourth, sometimes they'd be like, RVD, they wanted me to come out. And that's a lot of pressure. So I would come out at the end of the show like, wow, I want to do everything I can personally to make sure that all these people go home happy tonight, regardless of whether they've enjoyed the last 4 hours of the show or not. And I'll tell you, John, I delivered. I said on the whole effing show, I backed it up. Everyone was talking. Everyone was excited. It was a big party for everybody. And then ECW was growing. It was growing in numbers, live attendance, and of course, besides the interest that we were getting nationally. There was the going from the pay-per-views, and then the magazine, and then the merchandise, the action figure, let's say action figures, pay-per-views, and what was the other?
Video games.
Yeah, I guess video game was another stepping stone, a good pivotal moment where it made us feel real. Anyway.
And if you look at it too, it's like you're the television champion for that long extended period of time. But a lot of people, me included sometimes, felt like the TV title when you were the TV champ was better than the world title, which is crazy in wrestling terms, because I thought the world champ was supposed to be supposed to be the best, but not in ECW. You were sometimes the main event, but even sometimes just the better wrestler, the better match.
Right. Yeah. So I felt like the heavyweight championship belt title made the wrestler there, but I feel like by me having the TV championship, I made the TV championship make something. So that was the difference. When Mike Awesome was the heavyweight champ, I wanted both belts to be simultaneously building up on like two opposite piers, holding the structure up of the whole foundation until finally at the right time, when we've grown enough too, we could face each other. But that was something that I enjoyed, was the fact that I made the TV championship mean to some people more than the heavyweight championship, because I was having the best matches every single night. They were looking forward to that match, and it gives a lot of the wrestlers a good reason to want to take that from me.
It's funny though, like when you look at wrestling, it's like, okay, the title sometimes makes the wrestler. Like you were saying, you made the title. Not only made the title, you actually made it more prestigious than the world title. I don't know if that's Paul's doing as well. Obviously, that's mostly you, but I don't know if that's Paul going along with it after. It's like, okay, this guy's way too over. We got to ride this train, basically.
Yeah, no, Paul was a part of everything. So definitely, he gets a lot of credit from the ECW boys, because he does deserve it. Looking back, it was a long time ago. I was fairly green, so it's hard to look at it from the perspective now that I have with to know exactly, like, recognize how much control he had or didn't have during certain situations. But I just always felt like he was there to talk to and to run things by anyway. And so in my mindset, he was always as included as you could be.
It is amazing, though, to think like, wow, you weren't, when ECW was having their run up until 01, weren't the world champ. Were you supposed to be? Like you were saying, you and Mike Awesome, maybe you're going to have a square off. Were you supposed to be the world champ?
Again, that's one of those questions, like you asked, to open it up. I don't look at the plan book, and until it happens. Yeah, there's so much talk. You know what I mean? Like we're going to make you tag team champ. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then when it doesn't happen, which one do I go with that was supposed to happen? The one this guy told me, or that guy, or none of it. None of it. It doesn't, until it happens. And matter of fact, even when I beat John Cena at the ECW One Night Stand, I would not allow myself to believe it was going to happen until 1, 2, 3, and then it was real. Like the whole time, something could happen. This moment could get taken from me, even up to where I'm going up for the frog splash. Watch me miss the top rope and roll down to the floor and crack my head open. So until the very last second, it ain't real to me.
Wow, good way to go about it, though, because then you really stay in the moment and you stay focused on what you need to do, what you need to accomplish.
Yeah, it's RVDology 101. I avoid expectations, because all they do is set you up for possible disappointment and take you away from being able to really experience the moment.
I love that One Night Stand, because if Cena wins, we riot. I mean, they were dead set on you. I mean, that was great. I mean, usually when a guy throws his shirt into the crowd and he's of important stature, they're fighting over the shirt. They want to keep it. They were fighting each other to throw it back. I mean, they did not want any part of him that night.
Yeah, and really, when you think about it, once the first two people threw it, if you're the third guy that catches it, even if you want to keep it, you can't at that point. You got to throw it back or get your ass beat by everybody.
That was great shiny moment in your career. Is that one of the career highlights for you?
Oh,
Absolutely.
no doubt about it. No, and not just because the match was great. Cena was great. The crowd was great, but for me, the reason that it meant so much to me was because the build up for that match was my entire career. I always stuck to the hardcore environment and my style, even though I was constantly told that my style was too dangerous, too physical, it was going to shorten my career. Look at me now. And I stuck to my guns. And because of that, it made me a bit of an outcast. And I never would have been in the number one spot in the driver's seat of the industry if I hadn't managed to help change the entire playing field, by bringing ECW back as a pay-per-view, by talking with Vince, by bringing it back as a third brand. I was the best foot to put forward. None of that would have happened if I hadn't stuck to my guns, stayed committed to what I believed in, and actually been able to see it come all the way through to fruition. So for all
Sorry, Beth, I lost you for.
Oh, okay. I got hot, took my shirt off, I put it back on. Ugh.
You were saying basically just being able to stay in shape and be who you are.
Yeah, but also I was just talking about One Night Stand. How for me that was a crowning moment for me of always sticking to the right guns, making the right decisions throughout my career pathway to end up where I was at by listening to the right people, ignoring the right people. There's a lot of tricks to navigating those waters. And so for all those reasons, that was definitely the crowning moment of my career was beating Cena at One Night Stand.
We're saying career highlights and different things too. Obviously, that's a huge career highlight. Absolutely. What are some other career highlights that you think of? Maybe we wouldn't as fans, but maybe what do you think of as career highlights?
Well, I think of when I beat Bam Bam Bigelow for the TV championship in Buffalo in ACW. That was definitely a very pivotal moment in my career. In fact, that was the night that I became a superstar. Total different vibe from the fans that night, and after that night, I was on a whole nother level. So that was very cool. I think of my matches with Jerry Lynn, as being kind of trendsetters in a way, because there's still wrestlers that want to emulate those matches and want to do the RVD Jerry Lynn kind of stuff. And had some really good matches with Sabu, especially when I first got to ECW. And there was the match with Regal, which I don't remember that much about the match, but it was WrestleMania 18. It was definitely the first time for me being in front of that many people. What I remember about it, I didn't think the crowd liked the match because I couldn't hear them. The building was so big, the sound went up, didn't make it to my ears, and it wasn't until I got back to Gorilla that I found out that people liked my match with William Regal.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, they say that sometimes, right? The stadiums, it's hard to judge when you're in the ring because the sound doesn't reverberate back.
I didn't know what was going wrong. I thought, what's wrong with these people? I did the spin kick, like I always do. Screw these people.
And they liked it. Yeah, it was good.
They liked it. Turns out they liked it. I just couldn't hear because of the sound traveling. And then I got used to it. So if I'm in a big building like that now, I know to expect it. But that was my first time.
Now, I'm a Jersey boy. I love Bam Bam Bigelow. I actually live in Asbury. It's not too far away from, obviously, where he's from, Asbury Park, New Jersey. But I feel like that's great. You saying he put you on the map tonight, made you an absolute superstar. And I feel like he did that with Taz in ECW. I feel like he did that with Shane Douglas in ECW. I feel like he helped a lot in ECW, putting other guys over.
Yeah, he really did. He was a great guy. I loved being around him. I marked out a little bit because his superstardom compared to mine at the time. And after that one night when I beat him and was the new television champion, Paul told me, he said, it doesn't matter what you do, these people are going to love you. And I didn't know what he meant, but I knew what he meant after I got out there, though, because I was trying to think of all these spots to do, and he was basically saying, whatever, they'll love it. And it was just like I reached – I felt like I reached superstardom. And last week on AEW, some people on social media were saying I reached God status. So, but that might have been what it felt like after I beat Bam Bam.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, you're in God mode, or whatever they say. You're in God mode now. Yeah, God. Yeah, that's great. I guess that's above legend status, so that's nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think everyone knew I was a legend, and when I had the match on, I think it was Dynamite. I think they got it mixed up, but I went toe to toe with Swerve Strickland, and man, it was just a really good match. It was a good matchup. I'd love to wrestle him again. I could have went another 15 minutes like that. And I liked what we both brought, and I liked the chemistry that we have together, and the fans did too. So yeah, a lot of the fans were, I don't know how they could have missed me for the last 20 years, but that's what their feedback sounds like. Like they haven't seen me in 20 years, and they're shocked to see that I'm still out there doing the same stuff.
And still in great shape. So yeah, they're definitely surprised, because some of the other guys maybe aren't in as good of shape, of course, but you're obviously, you're training, you're like you said before, you're ready, so you don't have to get ready, you're staying.
Yeah. And by the way, Billy Gunn is 60. The Rock, yeah. I think The Rock is 58. Standards are changing, They definitely are.
Guys, yeah. Billy looks awesome too. Yeah, I can't believe that with Billy.
He looks amazing.
Now, as far as like your workout and stuff, do you do the same workout regimen you used to do? Like, do you still work out the same way, or is it different?
No, I adapt, and it changes over time, for sure. 2001 when I got to WWE, I was still doing a lot of powerlifting. That's how I got trained, and so I would often do like 1 or 2 rep maxes on a weekly basis, as part of my workout. So I would, at that time, I would always go to
You were saying the 2001 in WWE, the workout change that you were kind of going through.
Yeah, so I was lifting super heavy back then, and that meant for me like benching 400 pounds every week when it would come to chest, or I would alternate sometimes incline and flat. But I remember having one time asking Justin Credible to spot me, and I had like I think I had 385 on, and he was like, I can't lift that. I go, no, I don't need you to. I just, like I'll get it like 3 reps myself. And when I wait till I say help, and then all you gotta do is like pull up a little bit. That's all I'm gonna need, and I got this, and he was like, hold on a second. He went and got X-Pac, and X-Pac came over, and they both stood on each side of the bar. And I was trying to tell him, like, no, I got this. Like, I do this without a spot. They don't get it. And I would used to always for leg day, I would put 405 on and get 12 good reps on. Sometimes go up heavier to 500 pounds for just a few reps, but otherwise 12 reps at 405 was my go-to, like 4th set on leg day every week. And anyway, I just lifted like really, really heavy, and now I hardly ever do. Now it's more about the pump, and so it's not even. So I don't even like. Sometimes I don't even do full reps. I find that to be a waste. Just do the amount of the rep where I feel the best contraction, and actually feel the blood like pumping in there and stuff. And it's a different experience. And I lift later. And I used to always eat to keep my weight up. Being like 230, 235 pounds used to be one of the smaller guys. And so I used to always eat. I was always, if my weight dropped below 230, I'd freak out like, oh no, I got to eat more. I've been on the road too much. I haven't had time. And anyway, and that's changed now too. I've learned a lot more about how the body works. And I learned that, that your growth hormone actually is suppressed when you eat, and then your growth hormone is in charge of like doing so many good things, and it's so important. And when you have blood sugar, then your insulin level rises to take care of the sugar and to put that away, and then that suppresses your growth hormone. So specifically, there's something called peptides that have been really helpful for me. And peptides are they're just amino acids. They're a group of amino acids, not enough to make a full protein, and they're designed in a biohacking agenda to where you can take different ones for different reasons, and it goes into your body and it tells your body what to do, and then it leaves. So it's amazing. And you've got some that like tell my body to release more growth hormone. You got some that tell you to, some for putting on weight, some for losing weight, some for getting you hard in the bedroom, some for sleep. There's so many
Uh, Sorry about that. You were talking about the peptides are actually good for you and the amino acids.
Yes, so that's something new that I didn't know about before. That it's helped me a lot, and a lot of my friends as well. So um, those are some changes that I've been getting good results from, and I eat a lot healthier. I cut sugar out of my diet as much as possible, avoid it all day long. And so making a few changes like that have been good.
As we hit the wind in here, we head towards the finish. I love your return to WWE. It's almost basically 10 years ago now. The Money in the Bank, 2 in a row was great to see you. Awesome surprise. Had an awesome match with Cesaro at SummerSlam, I remember, which is basically about 10 years ago now. Just awesome to kind of just see you always kind of pop up, maybe surprise some people, but always have a good match. It kind of just remind me of even against Swerve. It's like he'll just surprise you and always have a good match. It's like the old reliable RVD. You know what I mean? He'll surprise you. He'll come out there and you'll get the same guy you saw in 1997. So I always thought that was great when you get to see RVD.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you think so. Like I said, I go for consistency. Always have, and when people ask what more I want out of life or whatever, I still say consistency. I love the path that I have been on up till this point, and I would enjoy very much to continue on the same path. And I don't think that's asking too much. And in fact, I think that's probably what's going to happen. So things are good. That keeps me optimistic.
Now, what about the podcast? Where can everybody find it, and what can they look forward to as far as your podcast?
Yeah, so it's called One of a Kind, and a lot of it is talking like this. I have a host, and I figure I usually have a different perspective than most others, so you're probably going to get a different take on us talking about anything. And I do also try to share my values, like I said, RVDology, which is a big part of what's important to me about connecting with my fans. On the platform of the podcast, I like to do that. I like to have the fans say, hey, man, that made so much sense. Or I really needed to hear that. You helped me out at a point in my life. Boom. Easy. Glad to be able to do it. Sharing my insights, sharing what I've learned. I'm very, very experienced in a lot of different ways. And with that comes a lot of knowledge. That's where we learn everything firsthand or secondhand experience, and we got to choose which is which. Sometimes, sometimes we got to try things ourselves. Sometimes not so much. You can learn from other people's mistakes and stuff. So expect a lot of wisdom when you tune into One of a Kind, which it's on Premier streaming network, and it's on my YouTube page. All my social media is The Real RVD, including the YouTube page. And you can find it at other places where podcasts are too, probably.
How about RVD CBD? Still rocking and rolling?
Nope, RVD CBD, unfortunately, is no more. We were able to help a lot of people. Product was so good. I still use the pain cream. It's still like the best. It's the best that I've ever come across. And so like when my knees or neck or something is sore and I put this on, I just think, damn, it's such a shame that we weren't able to keep going, because we really helped a lot of people. And there was still a lot of more people to reach. But the people that did get to our product, of course, were really disappointed, as I was, to find out that my partners, Justin Sampis and Jesse Daly, were ripping me off the whole time. So that's why we closed it down. They had themselves on a secret little guaranteed pay that they decided I shouldn't know about. I mean, I'm only 55% owner. Why share that with me? It's only my name. And we talked about it all the time. So it's not like they avoided it. They straight up lied and deceived me. So that venture is done. People still ask me about it all the time, but got no product to offer. I can only offer advice.
Now, RVDology, still doing that on YouTube as far as just separately?
Yeah. I think about doing it a lot more than I actually do it. Like I think, just like a lot of things, I think I'm going to do it like every day, but then if I don't get to it, I don't get to it, and then pretty soon a month has gone by. So I don't have a commitment to a schedule or anything, but I definitely am going to do some and have been writing down some ideas of the content for exactly that, because I obviously that's something I did out of passion. And all those RVDology stories, by the way, on my YouTube page, they're all full of stories that no one has ever heard. You know, all of them. There's like, I don't know how many there are on there, but that's the amazing thing, is that like so many stories are so told and retold out there, and it's so easy for me to tap into parts of my brain that I remember, things that nobody else would know. You know, and sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they never would know. I was telling a story a couple of weeks ago, and I realized I'm the only one alive that can ever tell this story now. And we were in Japan in the hotel room at the Ginza Tokyo Hotel, and me and Bobby Duncombe Jr., for some reason, we were in Gary Albright's hotel, and he was starting to fade. And he was a diabetic, you know, so he started getting non-responsive. His face is all sweaty. Pretty soon, he just takes a face bump on the bed. And Bobby Duncombe Jr. is like, Van Dam, we got to give him a shot. And I'm like, whoa, wait, I don't know anything about this. Are you sure? Like, are you sure that's what he needs? Like, what if he's got too much and you give him more and you kill him or something? And he's like, we got to try, man. I'm like, well, we should ask somebody. Shouldn't we ask somebody? And he says, come on, man. He found a syringe and he's up there. And he's got, he's like, pushing it so you can see that the water's coming to the tip, and he like pulls Gary's pants down so his ass is hanging out. And Del Wilkes, the Patriot, walks into the room, like munching on some Fritos or something. He came in there and he was like, "Oh hell no!" And he turned around and goes, "I didn't see anything," and he just like left. And I was thinking, damn, man, nobody's ever gonna tell that story again except me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, what a story. And three legends there with you. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, they've all moved on.
Yeah, yep. But RVD, that's a perfect story to end it on. Thank you so much for all the time today. Really appreciate it.
Right on, man. Appreciate you, John. Have a great evening.